welcome to today's video. It's Misha Ashling, it's Moonshore Gwyl Gamay, and today we're going to talk about 2017's question on Géibheann. Have a look at it there. There is a little snapshot of our sample answer available to us on the StudyClick's website if you wanted to take a look yourself. On Géibheann is as follows. Looking at Géibheann. Géibheann asks us, Úsáideann an fila codarsnacht tholéir chun gá fictor den anahí a chur os ar gcóir sa dán Géibheann, é sin a phlé. So the important aspects of our question would be as follows. We need our codarsnacht tholéir. You need to talk about the clear contrast and the two images of the animal. Fairly clear question. This is mirrored in the marking scheme. They want gá íomhá again and that codarsnacht tholéir, that clear contrast. Cuide though, they look at Conna sa hui an dan seo a bhaim earth. This is our personal response type question. They also say in the question itself, Is lor puinte awan olash as an dan mar hakiok ledo ragra. So we know from the get-go the answer is meant to be quite brief and very concise. But the main aspect is that it is your personal response. How did it affect you? This is marked again in the marking scheme where they mention Torum Farsanta and Irhora. It needs to be your personal opinion. But also, that personal opinion needs to be in direct context to the poem. Cuide trí, looking at Cé a chuman dan seo, our sail agus sihir question. So you're writing a very brief note on their life and their work. So as we know, sail agus sihir means you need to write about both. They're asking for both, you will write about both. Simple as. Animan illa is very important to us as we see down the bottom in our nota that má bhí an animan illa mi ceart, brun nod an mir fad. So if you get the name of their poet incorrect, you get no marks for this whole section. Whereas if you get it correct, you get 1 mark for that specific element, but then you're also eligible for the rest of the marks on the question. You're not cut out from the beginning because you misspelled the poet's name. This will not be on the paper, as I'm sure you know, but be very, very aware this is something you'll have to learn off. Have it ready to go, well spelled, rehearsed, on the day. You have trí fuinte ólas ag tasal here. You have 2 marks each for these points of information. Luckily for us, for this year, we have access to the Chief Examiner's report. So we'll have a quick look at what happened for most of the students on this year, according to the Chief Examiner. So, Tágartí. The Chief Examiner states that students that did well made a great account of the poem as well as made accurate reference to the text. That's how you get the good marks, and that's what many of the students did this year. Additionally, when you're asked for your personal opinion, you need to give it. This particular year, not all students managed to put this personal opinion forward enough. They didn't make it clear enough to the examiners that it was their opinion and what they felt about the poem. You need to make sure that you do that on the day yourself. And then the stagiaire. For Cuide trí, for our sail agus sihir question, the students that did really, really well had clearly done study on the life and the work of the poet, and they got full marks or really high marks due to that prep. Very important. So our key takeaways here are using accurate reference, indicating personal opinion when it is asked for, and to study the life and the work of your poets. Be sure to have it done. Cannot emphasize enough how important that is, because you will get asked. Bottom line, you will, unless it's in Spalpeen Fánach, of course, you are going to get asked about sail agus sihir an illa. Have it prepped, have it ready to go for each poet. Now our fragra. Géibheann. Our question again was Úsáideann an illa codarsnacht tholéir chun gá fictor den anahí a chur os ar gcóir sa dán Géibheann, é sin a phlé. Looking at it straight up, there are so many poetic techniques mentioned here. We've got our images, we're focusing on our images and therefore imagery, but this student also mentions metaphors, which is great. Indicates to the examiner that they understand it's a poem and needs to be tackled and analysed as such. Lots of mention of the gá fictor soléir throughout. They mention it again and again and the contrast between them, which is great. It could do with extra reference, however. This is only the first page of the answer, But I mean, we've already written 2 paragraphs before we get to any reference to the poem at all, which really isn't quite enough. Be sure if you are making a point that you are backing it up with a reference to the text at every turn. Cuide do, conna sa hui an dan seo I bhaim earth. This is our personal response question. We've got a fragra loihruk. The student set out their stall and answered the question immediately, helping them stay focused and helping the examiner to understand their opinion from the get-go. Next was the lovely phrase they used, Duscail an fila mo haulíocht féin, which is a lovely phrase and something that you can chop, change and apply to any answer on any poet, so I would recommend it, particularly given that nice phrases like that will help hugely when going towards your mark for the quality of your Irish used in your answer. Then it's quite clear that this answer is personal, as they've made it so. They mention I bhaim urim, so it is a clear personal response. But it could be added to. It could be a little bit more personal. There are always opportunities to add to it, such as this one I spotted, where the person's like, Is léir nach bhfuil sé an áit bogúil dó agus níl sé sin ceart. You could add I mo thuairim or dar lom after to highlight further that this is your personal opinion and things that you have thought yourself. Also, there's a small element of summary here. Of course, we need to summarize the events of the poem in order to analyze them in a way, but we need to focus much more on analysis than we do on summary. I can guarantee you your examiner knows the poem inside out and backwards. Do not be telling them the story or the plot of what's going on here. They don't need that from you. What they need from you is analysis and understanding and personal response, particularly here. So be careful of it. Cuide trí. Géibheann an dan seo. So here's our sail agus see here. Let's see how this student tackled it. Annam. Straight out the gate, our annam is correct. Thank goodness we are eligible for the rest of the marks for this question. Fíorchaí, there are some lovely facts throughout this answer. Also, nasc jazz and drama. So it's making it quite clear that Caitlín Maud was Moira in the first production of Untitled, which is nice if you've studied the two. It's a nice little connection to pull out. Some of the negatives. We saw the person wrote Géibheann as like an arts degree, which Caitlín Maud attained from NUIG. That's not the correct Irish for an arts degree. What you should have said is Céim sna Dána. Now, Géibheann is not strictly incorrect either, but there are nicer ways to say things. And when we are looking for marks for the quality of our Gaeilge, there's no reason to say things blandly or half correct. Let's go the whole shebang. Again, another spot where you could do this is where they said for she boss. You could say Kailu e or Dimig she or Lena Fearina. There are nicer ways to say it. We're looking for the highest marks we can manage, so we are going to pull out all the stops in order to make that happen. Into our focal score. Be sure, fragar an cheist. Do exactly as the question is requiring of you. Parson tucked, when they're looking for something personal, be sure you give it to them and in spades. Make it look very, very personal. And then Tágartí Crinne. As we said, with the poem in front of you, it's a little bit silly not to have correct quotation and accurate reference to the text throughout your answer in order to back up your points. With all that said, there's an annotated PDF of this available to you on the StudyClick site. Until next time.